This episode is brought to you by Kiko Socks. With a pair of Kikos, you'll have an experience that keeps you focused on your performance and not your feet. Use our coupon code POD15 for 15% off your order at kikosocks.com.
I hope you guys enjoyed the pod. Be sure to follow us on Instagram or YouTube at podpractice_pod. Email us at show@podpracticepod or listen on Spotify at podpractice. Is that what they did? What did they do?
Oh yeah, he just fucking got this. They call it a spatula, and he sticks it up your nostril, and then he just goes to town. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It was crazy.
Is that what
He
they
should
did?
have been punching you.
I'm getting
basically.
a deviated septum surgery.
That's a surgery, though. Like I was
Okay.
awake. I was fully awake. No painkillers, nothing. They just fucking.
Did it hurt? It hurt.
Oh,
fuck
dude.
ton, huh?
Oh god.
Holy shit. Welcome back to another episode of Pod Practice. Myself, Mikey, and Quinn Finer here for an episode with no guests where we get to focus on ourselves, most important people in the room. Always looking forward to an exciting episode talking about some of our recent happenings in the Ultimate community and anything else that comes to mind. I hope you enjoy.
What's up, guys?
Yo.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, we got a couple beat up guys here, and it's I think if you're watching, you can tell what Quinn's issue is.
Yeah, and you can still tell what my issues are, but just not the one that we're talking about.
On the
which is the
outside.
knee. Yeah.
How's the nose feeling, Quinn?
It's all right. Just got it reset, so it's a bit tender, I will say. But hopefully it's straight. You know.
You look badass though.
Yeah, I was watching the games with the mask on, and the mask is kind of sick.
I
might just
told you
wear
the
it.
mask is
It's
sick.
kind of sick.
Did it
it's kinda
hinder?
sick.
Did it like interfere?
Oh,
at
it
all?
sucked. It was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so terrible to wear. Yeah, but I got to wear
Yeah.
it for at least 6 weeks now, so
Oh
I'm
my
wearing it
God.
through at least Pro Champs. So
That's sick.
there you go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, what was it what was the worst part about wearing it? How's your peripherals?
The peripherals were fine. The worst part was the sweat. Like would just pool up right where the mask sits on the forehead and just drip in
Yeah.
your eyes just constantly. And if you like hit full speed, it's probably gonna fall down a little bit and kind of get in your vision. I almost dropped a deep shot from Kins actually in the pony game because of that, but that's all right.
Damn, if you had dropped that, I probably would have left.
I know.
Man.
I know.
That's
You were
like
on tilt at that
honestly,
point,
because I threw.
We did not have chill Kins
I
this
threw one to
weekend.
Nut, lefty turn on the goal line. I threw a dime to Maddie, drop. Uncharacteristic drop. If you had dropped that, it probably would have been over for me, man.
Yeah, Maddie and I talked about that one this morning. His drop.
He was pretty sad about that one.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
he was
most
just
people would be.
gassed.
Yeah.
Quinn, you only had one drop on the weekend, right? I think it was highly pressured deep shot where Nate Goff was on you.
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna have to go up. I didn't even drop it. He D'd it.
Oh, he did it.
Yeah. I should have just.
Nice golf.
I mean,
Shout
I
out
should have
golf,
just
man.
went up
That
and got
fucker
it.
is so fast.
He
and
is
so
good.
tall.
Though. He's good. I mean, on that
he's
one, I
big
just
and athletic.
estimated his speed a little bit because I think like a lot of other players would not have gotten there, and I could have just caught it. But he caught up and got it, so I should have just gone up for it. But good D.
Third place game. What's it
doesn't.
even matter, man?
Fuck
Nothing
that.
matters. Everyone's like, these don't even matter. It's like, why are we even playing the fucking tournament? Everyone just
It's true.
nothing matters.
Quinn was on fire though. Kinsey missed that Sunday morning. Yeah.
I've heard multiple accounts of Quinn lighting it up with his
Yeah.
throws in the absence. I mean, that's how it goes. You know, we had Nut, and that was the thrower. Then we had me, I was the thrower. You
Let's
just
just
go
go
keep
down
going
the
down.
list,
Next man up mentality. Go down the list, man. Quinn's driving the offense. QB1.
But
Love it.
efficient.
Efficient.
That's-
One turn.
Kids, when we start centering to you, your turns go up.
Oh, yeah. Like my touches go up, everything goes up.
Quinn's
so.
didn't, is all I'm saying.
It was one game.
It was kind of 2 games.
But maybe we do
still
push you
sick.
downfield. And
were we centering
Half
to
the
Quinn
time.
in the
yeah.
half the time? Right. You and Colson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kins, how are you feeling? You got a
I
boo
think-
boo.
Bad. Yeah. It's not
No.
good. It's not good.
Tell the people what happened.
It's I definitely redid something to my PCL. I don't know. I also, like, an unfortunate piece of information about the injury was, like, I was on my mom's health insurance and she switched jobs, and the new insurance from her job was really bad. So it was like I was in between health insurances. Like, I just signed up for my new one. It starts in September. And it was like, oh, okay. Like, I won't have health insurance for like 1 month. Like, yeah,
You need it at all times. Yeah.
we'll make it. Yeah. Recently I have. So I don't have health insurance. So I couldn't go get like an MRI or anything. Or, like, I guess I could if I wanted to pay out of
MRIs are
pocket and
crazy
whatnot,
expensive.
but- Yeah, well, and part of it though is like they get charged. They're more expensive when you have insurance. Like, they'll like bump up, or they can bump up the price because then like the insurance makes more money. So sometimes if it's just
What a
out of
racket.
pocket, it actually will only be like a couple hundred. But
Um,
but yeah, so I re-injured it. It was pretty swollen after the one day of running around. The swelling's gone down pretty significantly, but it's the same thing again where like I can't bend my knee quickly. Or else there's like a severe stinging, like sharp pain in the back of my knee.
so we're not sure.
It's the only injury ever where like I physically am unable to like do things. Like, normally, like, there's injuries and you're like, it hurts to do things, but you can like run and whatnot. Whereas like I literally, if I wanted to, could not run right now, which is like a pretty interesting mental game, especially as someone who's like pretty energetic and stuff.
Is that game filmed? Like, we didn't film that. Did Pony film that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah.
Probably not. I make most of my sick plays.
was
like,
so-
not. Just kidding. I make
So
sick
it
plays.
was
on
it
film,
was a sweet
so,
D that he
but-
got hurting his knee, and it was almost identical to the one where he hurt his knee the first time. Like, almost identical.
Similar.
It's very
similar.
similar.
For
And
sure.
if we can laugh about the unfortunate situation of your knee for a second, when
we can.
when you got the D, it was very nice. He's sitting. He's
was
sitting
so
on his butt.
hyped.
He's so pumped, and he like fist pumped the discs. Fist pumps the disc. Stands up,
Classic
drops
Kins
it, takes an
celebration.
injury, and limps off the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I fucked and I was so emotional
Oh,
after
it
that because
was-
like I
it
knew
was
it was
funny.
hurt again, and so I was just a wreck. I fucked up Mikey's water bottle. I fucked up Mikey's Gatorade
Oh
water
my God.
bottle, and I like punched the shit out of it. And then I just started crying because like I knew I was like, I guess, like, seriously hurt again. So I was just like,
Fuck.
well, yeah, this
That's-
sucks. Because it was like the same play, like landing
Same
on my
thing.
knee, like, and then like the same reaction, like get up and like can't like put weight on it, like limping. It was just so ridiculous. Fucking, yeah, it's funny because I've only been put on like TK's put me on D line maybe like 5 times, and I'm like 2 for 5. on
Now he's never gonna
injured
he's
my
never gonna
PCL.
be
Never
on D
again.
again. Or
I mean, it's a funny thing.
Or-
Or the other option is I only
right.
play D.
right. That was
So
what
you're
we
just
were-
always hurt.
So I'm just like I don't know. I don't know. Something about I'm just a. Well, we were also talking about it today actually because we did a clinic. Like I was working at a camp today, a summit camp, and there was this 8-year-old who sent a sick bid. Like most of the kids they lay out, but it's like a falling, like lunge type thing. Like this kid got horizontal for like a low pass, and we were talking about how like when you're younger, like whenever you learn something when you're younger, you're just like more. It's like second nature. Like you can lay out. You're not afraid. Like it's really hard to learn how to like lay out when you're older because your body's gonna hurt. You need like this like, it's like flipping on a trampoline, like those types of things. You can just like when you're younger, it's way easier to learn that shit. And when I was younger, I would just lay out all the fucking time. Like when I was like growing up, being at like Sarasota, which is like the beginning of my Callahan video. Like I would get bored and like throw the disc up in the air and then like wait and
I
then
would do
go
that
lay
too.
out for it. Like I just
Yeah.
like was always laying out when I was a little kid. And now it's just like I'm a lot bigger and taller, but I still lay out like I'm just a little fucking kid. And it's just like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I guess part of it's like catching up and
You need
like
a little
whatever.
extra meat on you, I think, because like
You might have too much meat. I don't know.
I don't know, dude. Because I can
You get to 190.
knock on wood. I don't really get hurt from laying out, but I'm not as big as you, I guess. But I have like extra. Like I'm more compact and I have more meat.
Yeah, the thing is, I never got hurt from laying out, but it's like this landing on the knee thing that has hurt me. I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. I'm probably gonna have to wear like, if I ever play Ultimate again, I'll probably wear
Yeah.
like
The
like
Smith-
knee
the
pad
Smith knee
things.
pads. Spice
Yeah, I'll
wears
probably wear
one
the
too.
Smith knee pads. Yeah, I think I will just like buy one of those and wear them because I'll need everything to make
I wonder
sure.
I wonder if I have that thing in the other room.
If I land
It's
on
definitely
my knee.
Smith has
I
it
don't know
somewhere.
why. Like, it's just weird. Like, I never used to land, or like, I don't remember ever landing on my knee before. And then I did it, and then I did it again. I guess I don't know. It's a little
definitely ridiculous.
Honestly, it's stupid. But if it ain't broke, I was thinking like last year I really didn't play that much till nationals, so like fuck it, I might just be on that same trajectory again.
God damn.
If I make it back.
God damn.
Yay.
It worked last year. I don't even know. Like we should be like, yeah.
Yeah, we should be
Fuck
excited
yeah.
that you're hurt. Yeah,
We're doing it.
okay, cool.
We're doing it, baby. We're doing
We
this
won't have,
again. Repeat.
We won't have Hulkkins or Angry Kins to dynamite his teammates either, I suppose. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Sagekins turned into
Ragekins.
Very
Ragekins real
fast,
quick this
yeah.
season. I had a hard time adjusting to the fact that our O-line was gonna get broken consistently. Like every time we have like a lead, or like even if we don't have a lead. I think I haven't reframed in my mind that like we are building something and this is gonna be a project.
well, we know a couple
and,
things,
like,
right? We
we're-
know our defense is our strength. Even if
100%, yeah.
even last year when our O ended up
Mhm.
being really solid by the end
Better.
of nationals, D was our strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a really different grouping of people. We might have lost Danny for the season too. We probably will find out here in the next day or two.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how long you're out? Poor Quinn broke his nose.
But I'm playing.
I mean, it was only two. Specifically for Bravo, it was before I got hurt. It was 3 people from our O-line last year. After I got hurt, it was 2.
Just
Yeah,
me
and
and
then
Maddie.
Quinn
Calvin
Cal.
missed it.
Cal. Maddie really wasn't playing that much on our O-line last year, though. To be
Yeah,
fair,
by the end of
like,
the season.
he wasn't really on the 7 who were playing. So it was just you, me, Cal. So yeah, I mean that's definitely part of it for sure. Like another funny thing was like I was giving a talk today to the kids, and I was like, explaining the importance of a good mark, explaining the importance of a good pivoting, why breaking the mark is so important, given the whole like vertical stack example, like you break the mark, all the defenders are on the wrong side, you're off to the races, all this type of stuff. And I was like, I turned to Buck after and I was like, I think I want to give that talk to our O-line.
That'd be great. Yeah.
It'd be fucking sick.
I think I kind of
It's like
I
really,
kind of gave
yeah.
that talk to our O-line. I don't know if you weren't there, Kins, but I just like we were sitting down before the truck game, and I was like, "Hey guys, like, we're not like let's just be honest with ourselves. We're not the best line at breaking the mark. We're just not. Like, we are not a bunch of dudes that are just gonna fucking shimmy a mark and break it, right?" And then I was like, "Hey, if that's true, and it is, let's not stare at the break lane like we're gonna fucking throw something that way. If we know in our heart that we can't break this mark, like, let's not stare at it.
I wish that wasn't.
But
the
that
solution,
is.
Though. I wish the solution was like break. I think we could. Yeah, I mean
That's fine.
Yeah, I guess
everybody
so.
doesn't have to break the mark. Like,
I mean, yeah. No, everyone has
would
to
love
break the
that.
fucking mark.
I would love it.
No, everyone has to break. No, I disagree. I'd say everyone has to
Maybe
break
we'll
the
get
fucking
there.
We'll get there.
We did a skill session
We'll
last
get
night.
there. We'll get there.
I think it'd be interesting. Like, I love to hear like other teams and what they do.
I mean,
Like,
I think that's why truck is so good because
They
it's
have
like
a ton of skill.
whoever
no,
the
that is
O
why
line they
they're
put on the
good.
line is like they can like every single one of them just destroys their mark. It's insane. It's
Last night
insane.
That is why they're good. Because you don't have to be athletic. You
No.
can just throw it wherever the fuck you want.
It's
Like, it doesn't
insane.
matter. You could, yeah. Oh, you stop me to the open side. Fantastic. You can't stop me to both the open side
Yeah,
and
it's
the break
insane.
side.
Good for them.
So
Impossible.
I'll clean up next time.
Yeah,
good for
Mike,
them.
we would take you. We need you.
I'll break
take
the
Mike,
mark.
man.
That's for sure.
What are we gonna? We can't turn it though. What are we gonna do on D, Mike?
Yeah, just gonna get
injury. Yeah, last night we had a little throat skills session, pod practice, honestly,
Yeah.
in Denver, and a lot of the guys were saying that they've never really worked on the OEO before, which I guess makes sense because we haven't focused on it as a group. But man, like when a few years ago, it definitely like when Bob was coaching Bravo, and maybe even when he in 2019,
definitely
yeah, like
Bird as well.
in 2019, Bird.
That's why I started throwing it was because of Bob.
He really emphasized the OEO and gave us reps at it. It's almost like we just need dedicated time to it. It's as simple as that.
Seriously.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's an interesting thing. Most of the time when we're at practice, we work on like team sets and team schemes, whether it be defense or offense and what we want to do. But we don't work on like training, like skills of like individual like skills of like whether it be like breaking the mark or hucking or cutting or like that kind of stuff, especially like disc skills.
Yeah.
And I wonder like if that's something that would be useful at practice or because I think an easy answer also is like, well, that should be like on the individual, like go out to a field and like practice pivoting and like stepping out and like doing that stuff. But is that realistic? Maybe it's so important that you should be dedicating time at practice to.
Yeah, let's dive into that a little
marks.
bit from like the standpoint of culture. I know you guys had a players only meeting last week, and I was talking to Justin, one of our captains, last week before the meeting because he comes over every week to lift at my home gym, my garage gym, and we were talking about we want to have a team that's built on trust, right? Like we don't want to have to be punitive if people aren't being up to the standards, holding themselves accountable to one, be fit, and two, work on the skills they need to outside of practice. But it's like an ebb and flow, right? Like we get really good and then we have good results. And so maybe you feel a certain way, like I've accomplished this. And so you might ease up on the gas pedal a little bit. I can't say for certain if that's the case, but I can say for certain that we are not as fit as I would like us to be. And we are not as skilled as I would like us to be. And I think those are solvable things that we could dedicate practice time to. But this is actually a good question for maybe the audience too, is like, what do you guys think? And what do you want your teams to be like? What are your expectations from your teammates when you're building these things out?
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing about it is it's not like when you make the team, like these expectations aren't like clearly defined. Like it's not like when you make the team, like you make Bravo and you get the email about like, are you going to be able to come to like, a certain amount of things and whatever. But it's not like, are you willing to do this amount of like, are you willing to put in like this amount of work to make sure you're in this like this type of shape? Are you willing to like put in this amount of work like outside of practice so that like your skills are up to par? Like that's not like something that's outlined. Like same for the summit. Like honestly, I don't think like any team I've ever been on has been like, okay, as being a part of this team, you are signing up to put in like this amount of work outside of practice, or like we'll have like a fitness test and you have to be able to do this, like something like that, or like we're gonna have like a throwing thing and you have to be able to do this. So it's hard to hold people accountable. I guess my point is it's hard to hold people accountable when you don't necessarily
have the
know
standard.
we don't know what are we holding them accountable to. Like there's nothing that says we need to be doing X amount of workouts outside of practice, or like putting this amount of time in outside of practice. So I think that's a big part of like, if we're going to hold people accountable, then like when you sign up for the team or like make the team, it would have to be like you're
Quinn,
by signing up, you're willing to put in that work.
What are your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this. I mean, I think ideally everybody's putting in that work. Like that's like when I hear people talk about the Revolver dynasty, like they were a dynasty because everybody was like so committed. Like that team was a bunch of meatheads. Like they worked, like they clearly were working out a shit ton. They were clearly like their fitness was like on top of the world, on top of being very skilled players. So I think like if you are truly like trying to create like a dynasty like that, or a team that's gonna even win nationals once, like everybody has to be doing that stuff. And it's so interesting. Like the place that Frisbee's at, like I don't think doing that stuff at practice, like conditioning or like skill stuff at practice specifically, is the right way to do it, because it's just like we don't get enough commitment. I feel like for us, we don't get enough commitment for it. And then if we have like pods, it's tough. So I think it has to be on the individual to a certain extent to want to get better at the things they're not good at. And that's like a whole nother thing, is a lot of people don't like, they don't try to get better at the things they're maybe not as good at. So like if we have like someone who's crazy athletic, like maybe they're in the gym a lot and they don't have great throws. They're in the gym a lot, but they're never working on their throws outside of practice. That's going to make them a better player. Like this player probably doesn't need to be more athletic. We need like that person to have better disc skills. So if you're a player that like is lacking at one thing and really good at another thing, like be self-aware enough to realize that and work on the thing you're lacking at.
Turn your weaknesses into strengths.
Yeah, like my backhand was shit for so many years, and now it's okay.
Good.
What about the from the perspective of the team, or you're in leadership, like what is a message that you want to send to your team, or what would you recommend if you have an answer? Like should we be like, hey, you have to meet, like what Kins was sort of, I don't think he was suggesting this, but we don't have a fitness test.
Yeah,
there is potentially a pro of that. There's some cons too. I'm thinking like the Miami Heat, right? They have like, you have to be at some percent body fat or something like that.
interesting.
Who was it?
Let's do that.
There was some I forget which NBA player, he played for them, and he was like, I couldn't do it. I liked Oreos too much, so I had to get out of there.
Yeah, no,
Or like another, yeah. Go, Quinn.
I don't know. It's I think like the hardo answer is like, if you're not doing this stuff outside of practice and you're not getting better, like eventually you're either gonna not really have that much playing time when it does come down to it, or you're going to get cut eventually from the team if you're not improving yourself outside of practice, which I don't think is a good culture.
Jimmy Mickle.
Yeah, or you're Jimmy Mickle and you can just be the best player of all time.
And out of shape.
But still the best player of all time. Yeah, and I don't think that's like the right way to look at it, because that's not a good culture piece to have. But like, if people are investing in themselves, which in turn is investing in the team, then like I don't really know what to tell you. Like as a leader, like I try to lead by example, but I think at this point it's gotten like, me leading by example has gotten stale for a lot of people. I don't feel like me leading by example is affecting a lot of people at this point. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's interesting. When I said this at the players only meeting, like I don't really enjoy like working out or doing track workouts, stuff like that. Like if I didn't have to do that stuff, that'd be awesome. But I want to make myself the best I can be, so that our team can be the best it can be. And so like I go to the gym and I do track workouts for my teammates so that we're the best team that we can be. And my teammates motivate me in that way. And I wish that were the case for everybody. Maybe it is. I don't know. But yeah.
It's also fun when you get into a big game and you play well because you've put in work. Like, I also think that's a really cool feeling. Like, I love when I get into a game and I'm like, well, like, and now you're playing really well.
Yep.
And you didn't just do that because you're fucking
picking
around and like you just got to that point. And, like, you've, dedicated a lot of time to
the physical
putting in training to get better and also mental. Like, I think
I think it does.
I think a lot of it is underrated. Like what Quinn said
adds to your mental conditioning as well. If you put in the physical work and the skill work, your confidence is high because you have credibility to yourself to back it up. You put in the work.
And I think also it's like the humility and the awareness to like be able to address your weaknesses. Like, I think a lot of people really struggle with being like, I'm not good at this, or they can't like face the fact that they're not, they can't sit with the fact that they are not good at, like, once they get the disc, like making a good decision, or they are not good at, like, timing their cuts downfield. Like, a lot of people, that makes them uncomfortable and they just don't want to think about it, and they want to think about like what they are good at. And so that's also why they go and just work out, because I'm already good at this, I get to go work out this, I'm sick, I'm a beast. But like being able to address like things you're not good at and be like, this is what I'm going to work on, is very underrated as an athlete, I'd say, because that's really, I think, what makes you, I would say, like, I would put a lot of like credit to like my development just as a player, and the fact that like I am okay with like one, addressing things that like I know that I'm bad at, and then also listening to people who are telling me that I'm bad at other things and like taking it to heart and trying to work on it.
Yeah. And let me backpedal a little bit too. Like, if you can get like as a team, if you can get a day a week and you can get people to commit to, an extra day a week outside of like practices, that is like a skills and conditioning day, that would be sick. But as Frisbee is, and people have, entire lives, jobs outside of Frisbee, we're not, doing this as like our careers. So obviously like people have entire lives outside of it. As it is, it feels like asking people, or even getting people in general, to commit to another day is super, super hard. And so that's kind of why I think it is on the individual. But if you can get that, that would be amazing. And that ideally would be what I want. But it just doesn't seem realistic. So that's kind of why I feel it should be on the individual to a certain extent. Or smaller pods.
And I feel like the reason I think it is on the individual is because I like kind of where I've gotten to after like being on a lot of teams is like the bottom line is like, you can't make people want to do things, especially as a fucking adult. Like, if
you can try
Joe Schmo on your team, you can try, but for the most part, if Joe Schmo is going to work out outside of practice because he wants to, Joe Schmo is not going to work out outside of practice because Quinn said you should work out outside of practice. Well, because like it's the same thing as you could outline it. You could start the team. You could start Bravo and say, you mandatory have to do 2 outside of practice training or workout. You're going to put it in a doc to like log what you're doing. And this is like a non-negotiable thing when you sign up for the team. 2 things, like whatever.
Awesome.
But like, regardless, if they want to do it,
solution.
No, it's not. But I think the solution is like trying to create the culture where like people, the solution is like, you get buy-in, you create a culture where people want the team to win, and therefore they want to get better because they want a team to win. And that's really the question is like, how do you create that buy-in? How do you get people to want to do things for the team?
And this is also interesting because almost everybody's like why or their motivation is different. A lot of people's are very different.
Right, they're there to have fun. They don't give a fuck.
So maybe
why am I gonna work out?
Like maybe certain people are motivated by like being good and making the team better. But there's other people that
shitting on other people.
There's other people that aren't motivated by that as much, and maybe are more motivated by the community aspect of it. So it's a very interesting.
Yeah, I would like to jump in on here a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
because I think you guys are right in a lot of ways. Like it's an individual thing. Um, but if you are like you as the people who are very invested, there are things that you can do, right? And I actually so yesterday after YCC and US Open, Nut and Matt Gucciahana stopped by to pick up a book, The Barcelona Way.
Mm,
And in that book, they talk a lot about cultural architects, which don't have to be captains. Um, in the book that I'm listening to that Matt suggested, the Culture Code, they talk about belonging cues,
yeah.
and these are like sometimes they aren't. There are things that can be easily overlooked, but are very powerful. Like even just like a "Hey, I'm glad to see you" type of thing, or like a high five, like those simple things that everybody knows about. But they can build and they can be
Mhm.
bigger things as well. But like I know I'm not in all the Slack channels that we have. Like I know that Boulder has um, a channel in our Slack that I'm not in, but I see a lot of people posting about workouts. I don't, and I think it's going to be now that we've sort of identified this as a weakness. I anticipate seeing more of it, but I don't see a ton of hey, hey Quinn, join me, like come work out with me, like um,
Yeah.
hey player X. It's always easier to do that with younger players. But I mean, like this morning, it was the oldest player and me right out at City Park
Yeah.
running a field workout. Hopefully we can start that train rolling, and I'm pretty sure there's a handful of guys in my garage as we record this working out, which is
Yeah.
great to hear and know about. But I
Mhm.
mean, so much of this, like the culture creation, is it is individual, yes, but it does take people reaching out to each other and making them feel like I think that's how you build a culture, right?
That's interesting. I think that's
I agree.
a really good point. And I think something I'm not that good at because like I was saying, like if people see me posting another video of me working out, they're like, "Oh, fucking Quinn is working out again." Like nobody gives a shit. But like if I were to like actually try to, get people to work out with me, that's a really good point, Mike.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it are the like the relationships you build and the connections that people make because I want to work out for a
Mm-hmm.
team way more if it's a group of people that I feel
Right.
connected to. If it's a bunch of fuckers I don't give a fuck about, why am I like I don't care. But if I've hung out with a bunch of you and I now deeply care about a bunch of you, then I'm way more motivated to do things for
Like
that
you work
group.
out with
Yeah.
Alan, right? And you guys are
I work I that's all I'm like, I think different in that way where I've always felt like I was thinking about this the other day because I say hi to everyone when they show up at practice. Like I'm always like but I've also been in my life like a very like social and like outgoing person. Like unless I get high or something, I'm like always like going up to people. I'm like pretty excited to like see people when they show up and like feel pretty comfortable like talking and like I actually think like I've even noticed like on Bird and stuff like this, like I have a lot more of people's like numbers just in my phone who I've been a teammate with just because of like I've interacted with them
yeah,
and
I
like
think these
talked to
are
them.
these are all like
And I was
belonging
thinking
cues that
about
you're good at.
right. And like I was thinking about that the other day and it's like I wonder how many people like talk to everyone in a practice, Because I know there's a lot of people that are a lot shyer than me and maybe they
Right.
don't say hi to everyone when someone shows up. And maybe you don't even like interact. I'm pretty confident that I have a handful of interactions with every player on the team when we show up to practice, which for me always makes me feel like very,
I think about this quite a bit because
belonged
like
in a
I'm very
team.
aware of, these again, I'll use the word belonging cues now, especially with the keyword. And I am such an introvert that I will get to
Yeah.
practice and not want to say hi to people, and
I know.
like I'll say hi to a few people, and then I'm very aware of like I didn't say hi to Kai today, and then like usually by the end of practice, not always though, definitely not always. Probably less than the majority of time. I will like, hey Kai, I haven't said hi to you yet, and then like give him a high five or something. But those things matter. I think they
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah, I think they do matter. I like whenever I'm like grumpy or like showing up to a practice like a little angry, I'll be like, you know what? I'm not gonna even fucking say hi to Mikey or like TK or like some of these people today because I know they're not gonna fucking say hi to me, and so I'll just gonna sit down because I know they're not even gonna say shit to me when I pull up. Like if I'm not the one going and saying hi to like a lot of these people, they won't
Yeah.
say shit.
You know
They
what's
won't say
funny?
anything to me.
I think TK and I are both very aware of the importance of some of these things, and he and I like rarely high five. Like I don't even know if we say hi to each other every practice.
That's funny.
I know, and the thing is, and like the only thing about that is like you're not grumpy at other people, but it is so easy to get in your head. And when like so and so isn't talking to you, like we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, just like when the fact that so and so isn't like going out and being friendly or talking to you, it is so easy to get in your head and be like, are they mad at me? Are they upset? And like 99% of the time, no, they are not mad at you. They are not upset. They are just fucking like, I don't know, not outgoing, I
Yeah,
suppose.
they
Like
had a
whatever it
day.
is.
You know, who knows?
And like I've always taken pride in my ability to like break the ice and just go be like, you know, whatever, like that. And I do think it is really important for building culture and like those connections.
Um, so those are your strengths. Can we talk about your weaknesses? Since you know you brought up on the wanting to work on your weaknesses.
And since
Yeah,
you
you want to.
think you're aware of them, let's hear.
Oh,
The
Let's
you're
thing
aware of
is,
them.
of course, I'm aware of it. I've been aware of the fact that I get angry for like years and years and years. But it's like I go through the stages of like being able to calm those emotions when I play. Like it's like we've talked about a lot on the pod. Like I'm very
Yeah, and like a
expressive.
lot with Ari for sure.
Yeah, we talked about it a lot. Like I'm very expressive. And so like a lot of it, the like I think the main thing is like how I'm framing the situation in my mind. And
Yeah.
recently the problem has been, well, it's been a couple problems. One, we're losing a lot and I'm playing on an offensive line that isn't performing well. So that's just the like external things, but the internal things are that my like I guess subconscious like expectations are still high for the offense and I haven't been able to like even going into like say the New York game in the US Open, like my thought process should be like this is a building game, this is a process game in a long season. The O-line is going to have ups and like more importantly like clearly very big downs and like I just need to like relatively like be able to like stay positive and like do that. And if I had been in like a good headspace, that is what I had been doing.
Well,
But
yeah,
I
I mean,
wasn't.
rather than asking you to change or anything like that, like my question is how aware of how aware are you in those moments? And I think the answer is yes, but do you do you realize how positive an impact, like even just from like a competitive standpoint, like if you were as you know, I mean, I can't compare you to anybody to Ben, but if you were like Ben Laurie, can you see how that has such a competitive advantage? Not even just like a
Yeah. The
like
thing is, it
a
wouldn't be like a Ben. It would be like it would just be like my emotions and the things that I'm expressing would be like way more motivating and positive than like upset and negative. And like that game, which was the game I got the most upset in, they were very upset, especially like, and it's all like, you know, we're playing very poorly.
well, how about like you know, Quinn is someone who expresses a ton of frustration, and I'm sure he's not getting you know A+ marks across the board from his teammates, but also not to say that anybody is or should. I think we could all agree on this pod that he is able to direct it in a more constructive way. Was that fair?
But I think even when Quinn is upset, it's like it's way less noticeable and like a thing than when I'm upset. Like I don't know, Quinn.
Well, exactly.
What was your like? How are you feeling in the beginning of the New York game? Like, what was your mindset going into the game? Like, what was your mindset during the game? I think that would be like an interesting thing to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's an interesting game because it's like our first like really high level game of the season. Like we're playing Pony, but we're playing them in a stupid crossover game that literally fucking doesn't mean anything.
But okay,
so it's so dumb. Let me finish.
I am.
So, like, obviously, I'd love to like, win that game. Like, obviously, but going into a crossover game that doesn't matter against a really good opponent, my mindset is, hey, we can learn a lot from this. Like, no matter the outcome, like if we get beat, what we get beat 15-10, like who cares? Like, not 50, that sucks.
You got smoked.
You got smoked.
The game was over like the second half. Like the first point of the second half, the game was over.
Well, Jimmy gave us the disc.
We broke.
First point. We had a chance.
We did break.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Oh, we did.
We went up 1-0. Funny how often that happens.
Right.
But yeah, like in general, like a game like that, like it's just like it's something we can learn from. Like I know we didn't put our best game out there, and we didn't have like our best like personnel ready either. Like we were not prepared for that game, but in the future we will be prepared because we had that game.
Yeah. And so like
I think it's
like when we weren't playing well in the beginning, were you upset or how were you feeling? Like what were your emotions when things were bad?
It sucks, but yes, I'm upset, but like there's no use of being upset about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, oh shoot, we're losing. This sucks. Like, but still, the outcome of this game doesn't matter. So what are you upset? What are we upset about?
That's an interesting thing because
we should be upset if we're not growing from this game, if we're not learning from this game, if we're not putting like our best effort out there so that we can learn from this game. That's what we should be upset about in a game like that.
Totally.
I'm not saying you should be upset, not be upset about results always, but in a game like that's crossover.
Yeah.
We should be upset if we're not learning from it.
Well,
I felt that we were getting good experience.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think two things. One, I was joking about it earlier, but I feel like we always we were joking about how I said like none of it mattered. And like I guess like this is just where people feel differently about things. Like I just don't have that mindset. I know it's like it doesn't matter in terms of like winning the tournament or like whatever. But like as soon as I start playing the game, I want to beat them. You know what I mean? Like I want to beat the other team. I don't like feeling like they beat us. So like no matter what,
I feel the same way.
Yeah. So I guess just like saying it doesn't matter doesn't resonate with me at all because I always really want to beat them as soon as. And I think that's just like I think people who like, when you guys are playing pickleball and all of a sudden, like, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters, but you want to beat them as soon as you're in the game. Like, you're playing Mikey. You don't want fucking Mikey to beat you. I don't want fucker, like, whoever the fuck on New York is to fucking have the satisfaction of beating me. I hate that.
I think, though, Kins, it's like,
no,
you just kind of.
So okay, that was my first point. That's just how I feel.
Okay.
But two,
all right, be quick.
I'll be quick. I'll be quick. The second point is just that then I think what I should do more is like I think we should have a conversation before a game and check in on like the reality of the situation and make sure that like there is a healthier, more constructive mindset going in. Like I think it would be helpful. Just something that would be helpful would be to talk before a game and be like, this is the situation. Like, this is where we're at. Like, this is what we need. Like those kind of things to make sure that I'm not going into a game out of check in a bad mindset.
Yeah, it's better to be proactive than reactive. I will definitely 100% agree with that.
Agreed.
I kind of forgot what I was going to say, but
on the topic of just like U.S. Open and Pony in general, like they were like congrats, they were great. And I have one like moment from that Pony game that I was just like, oh my god, these fucking guys. It was like we had just gotten broken like 3 times in a row, and we were still out there, and somebody is yelling from the sideline about how we're stuck in a room with no windows, one door, and no key, and it's locked. And he kept yelling it from the sideline. And I was like, oh my God, that is exactly how I feel. I am stuck in here, and Jabron is just in my shit, and I am having the worst.
I'm
sure
I think it was too. And it's Jabron is just in my shit, and I'm like, I'm having the worst time right now. And it feels exactly like that. Yeah, I mean, it was awful. It was
even
that
like
defense
you talking
is
about
fucked.
this
That
just
is
gets
so
me
fucked.
so upset. Just thinking about it is so. I mean, I think it's both. Their defense is great, and we're so not equipped to handle
their defense. I mean, dude, I had to be guarded by Jabron or Conrad Schlor every other point, and it was fucking awful.
But you know what? A lot of it, what it is like you watch them play Truck. Like Truck handles them fine. Like they have a great defense, but it's nothing. It doesn't look like anything amazing.
They were breaking Truck can.
But Truck can break the mark. Like that's the thing. Is like what I realized after the game is like Pony just hounds us under, and more specifically, like generally it's going to be the open side under. And so if they're literally that's what they're choosing to take away. They're choosing to take away the open side unders,
and they're good at it.
Well, I think most people that choose to take one thing away, they can take one thing away. The question is how good at the offense is at. Sure, they're athletic enough to take. If they decide they take away the open side under, we're gonna do it. Can the offense adapt and be like, okay, they're taking this away, so now we break the mark, or now we huck it deep because this is what they're trying to take away, and we are unable to do that. But hey, it's a nice day out, so. Smiles all around, man.
Sweet. All right, moving on. Go Pony.
You know what I think about a lot? It's just like a funny thing that, especially when I'm getting mad and everyone is like, not as mad. I think of like when people like tape or like they get like a machine to like force a smile on your face and like a smile on your eyes, and like I feel like that's what I need.
They say that's the physical act of smiling can change your mood, so maybe give it a shot.
Yeah, it's really
just smile.
Yeah, totally.
Totally. Or you could get to my age where you just don't care about anything anymore.
Yeah, man. I don't know. But, I think it's I do think it's the framing and being a little less just having a healthier frame of the situation and what's going on and the realities of it, and making sure that doesn't lead you to get so upset.
Well, anyway, we were gonna try to keep this one quick, and we want to move on to a couple fan questions.
We on fan questions already?
What's that?
Are we doing fan questions already?
What do you want to talk about?
We don't have to yet.
Well, I was just.
You want to talk another game we lost? We could talk about the LA game. We lost that one too.
I wanted to talk about your eval of the other quarter semis teams at the tournaments, and maybe not spending too much time on it, but specifically like, what did you guys think of Truck?
Yeah.
And shout out Noah Kuhlman for getting 3 insane blocks in that game. And
happy birthday! It's his birthday today.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Quinn, you go first because you actually played in most of the games.
Yeah. I felt most out of place. Not out of place. I felt most beat by Pony for sure. Obviously. As far as Truck, obviously they're really good.
I think their D's a little bit better this year, even though they didn't even have Troy.
Troy Holland wasn't there, and I think
and no Cranston.
Troy and Cranston weren't there, so I think their D is improved. They're a similar team to last year.
How are you guys leaving out D-line captain David Bloodgood? disrespect.
Yeah, well, sorry,
David.
I think Truck's really good. I mean, like we were talking about, they're all very, very skilled, and they could win anything at any time. You just never know. But I would rather, sorry, Truck, but I'd rather play you guys than Pony currently. Rhino is still figuring it out.
They're
Clearly,
psychos. How could you say that? They're insane.
They're still figuring it
That was
out. I
so
mean,
kind.
if anybody from Rhino is listening, the fact that Will Laurie was only on the field for like a couple of 0 points is, you guys are dumb. You guys are fucking
Isn't he
dumb.
hurt?
No.
Is he hurt?
No, he
He's
was
not hurt?
he was not hurt. You guys
Yeah,
are
that's weird.
idiots.
That is
Stupid idiots.
Dumb.
Dumb. So, but yeah, they're still figuring it out, but they're obviously very talented. I think when you add a piece like Dylan onto an O-line, it's gonna be rocky no matter what.
Well,
maybe not.
Rafi gave us a disc 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're figuring it out, but they're obviously very talented. So you just never know with them. It seems like because if Rafi and Lay like just have an amazing game, like they're probably just gonna beat anybody.
Joe just kept calling them the best pickup team in the world, and I thought that was
They
a
are the
really
best pickup
funny
team in the
reference.
world.
Like,
Wow,
they're just good. If they gave a
Yeah.
fuck about not being dumbasses, they'd be great. Because they
It's
make
true.
the funny thing is they make the fucking semis like every year. They do all this shit. If they just gave a fuck about not doing a bunch of dumb shit, especially like, I think that starts at the top down. I swear to God, it has to start from the top down. Like, because those are also
Yeah.
the people who are doing the most, and therefore, if they do not a lot of dumb shit, like will have the biggest impact. Like, they could be very good, but it's like a funny
They could be very
matchup
good.
against us because we're also very talented and do like dumb shit.
do dumb shit.
So it's like an interesting. I love, like, our games are always kind of fun because it's like, all right, who's gonna not do some dumb shit and pull this one out?
Yeah.
Who's gonna
Bunch of idiots.
Who's gonna fucking complete passes?
Yeah. Yeah, and then Machine, good as always.
Yeah.
It confuses the shit out of me, like where anybody on their team is actually, like, do they all, like, none of them live in Chicago? None of them. They have nobody's from Chicago.
Joe played
Joe
really
White,
well
man.
against us.
Well, Joe's just good. Low key good pickup is that Canadian dude on their team's really good.
Their D seems to be back. Well, maybe not quite to the level it was 2019, but it seemed a lot better to me.
It seemed like
than it
they're
was
just a
last
bunch
year.
of cowards running zone instead of person, but whatever. Yeah, they're good. I enjoy playing with them. They're a bunch of, I mean this in a nice way. They're like a bunch of douchey meathead dudes. So I think I have fun playing against them. Yeah.
What about New York? I don't know if they
Same.
were doing it
Same thing.
jokingly, but out of like, they're either at the start of the game or out of halftime, they do a chant where they go, "New York, do work."
Yeah,
and they
do.
say it like that. And I'm certainly gonna be making fun of them if I ever hear it again, because unless it's like sarcastic, but it's so corny. It's like, do work. It's like,
yeah,
it's just so fucking dumb. But Rhino was also doing that dumb cheer at the beginning of our game too.
This is funny. So during the Rhino game, Kins was imitating Rhino's cheer, and I was talking to one of their players on the sidelines about it, and he was like, or I was like, he's like, yeah, he's kind of a douche, and I'm like, yeah, he's our douche. Like, he's our douche. It's not a big deal. And I was like, who's your guys' douche? And he points at Micah Glass and goes, yeah, probably him. I was like, this is perfect. This is awesome.
But also, it's like, how is it? I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's funny to imitate other teams' cheers because it's like, I'm just doing
I think so,
you're just doing the same fucking thing they're doing it, and then everyone just realizes how dumb it is. Like, they did it like the first time after like we turned it over. Like, there was like a call, and they started doing it like a bunch of dickheads, and it's like, okay, fantastic. Now every time you turn it over, I'm gonna do your fucking stupid cheer, and it's like, is it really douchey because you were the fucking ones doing it as well? So it's like, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Anyway, just do work, man. Do
Is
work.
I'm not saying I care, but is it spirited or unspirited?
I don't know, man. I think that's
to mock cheers.
Subjective thing, you know.
But yeah, it was a really fun weekend. I enjoyed playing everybody, and Omen is low key, I think, pretty good.
They are.
Yeah, Omen's low key good.
Although then they lost like every game.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted to beat us so badly
Right.
that they tried so hard that they ran out of gas in one game somehow. But I think they're good, low key.
I do think they have some good pieces for sure.
Yeah. And on your thing, Mikey, I don't know if it's spirited or not, but one of my favorite things we ever did on Bird was when we decided that we were gonna do the other team's cheers with them.
Because we don't
have cheers. And like when we started doing the other team's cheers with them, it was just so fucking funny. Like, because the different reactions you would get from the other teams is like some other teams, it would like hype them up and they would do like their cheers like louder. Other teams, they'd be like, what the fuck is going on? But it's like this weird thing where like you're just doing what they're doing. So how is it? It's like, I don't know. It's very interesting. And I highly encourage everyone to do cheers with the other team because I think it's really fun.
As a conflict averse person, it stresses me out a little bit, but I do think it's funny.
It was so funny because the funniest thing about the Rhino one is they stopped doing it and they gave like one half-hearted one like at the end of the game. But I think everyone just realizes how dumb you look when you're doing this fucking cheer, and then it's like, all right, great, like we're just like we're not cheering anymore.
I don't know. Who knows what's going on through their mind? Maybe they're just thinking about how much of an asshole you are.
I mean, they started doing the cheer after like someone on our team called a foul. It's like there was a foul call and they started doing the cheer. Like,
yeah. But I think in general, two most polished teams, obviously Pony and Truck, and I think
which was to be expected.
Yeah. And then Bravo, Rhino, Machine, I think all still figuring it out. But all, contenders as well, I believe.
Yeah, obviously we haven't seen Ring yet.
Haven't seen Ring yet. Haven't seen a couple other teams
Pony,
yet. But Sockeye, who knows?
Pony definitely has the best defense right now in the country.
I actually have a Sockeye guy in my house right now.
Is he there?
Yeah, he's I think it sounds like he's watching TV out there. Stanley Birdsong, shout out. I'm assuming he can't.
Shout out
hear
Stan.
Me. Yeah.
Shout out Stan.
Yeah. Broke his leg. He's got a rod in it.
Fuck.
Damn.
That is.
But no cast. It's like he said it's an inside cast.
Wow. Like holy shit. That sounds painful.
Yeah, he's in pretty good spirits. All things
that's
considered.
pretty cool.
Good.
But yeah, Pony definitely has the best defense in the country. I'd also then put ours, Bravo's defense, up there as one of the like most pressuring that I saw at the weekend.
I'd put ours second best.
I would too. Yeah, I would too. And then I think Truck has a good enough defense and then one of the better offenses in the country. Like certainly like probably top 2, maybe even definitely top 2. So enough to get, that's like their strength for sure.
Their offense.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually think they have the best offense.
I agree.
I guess so.
I think Pony could.
They got to figure out what they're doing with their 8 million superstar players.
You know what I was thinking about that I would want to ask them? Like, God, what if they have to do a universe? Or like, who was their I wonder who their universe line for Sockeye was. It's just interesting. Like, I wouldn't want to.
Should we do a hot take question? Would Jimmy be on your universe Pony O?
Oh, yes.
I mean, he was.
Yes.
He was.
Yes, he
would. He
He has
on
to
mine.
be.
He
It's
would
like
be on
it's
mine.
like a respect thing.
Yeah.
He's not on the
he'd
D,
be on mine.
obviously, but that's clear.
No, he's on my O.
He's on the O. Who's your O? Quinn, go. Who's your universe O for Pony?
For Pony?
Yeah.
Jimmy, Babbitt, Yacht, Jack, Ryan, Kocher, obviously.
Yeah.
Sam Little.
Oh, I'd probably do the same, but realistically, I'd do Randolph.
You got
Oh.
I think Randolph.
God, that team is so fucking stacked.
I think because
dude.
Randolph is younger and plays more defense for them, and I fall victim to it as myself. Like when I think of like the top players on Pony, you list a bunch of other people before you think of Randolph. And when
Which
I
is
watch
ridiculous.
them play, he's one of their best players. I would say like top. He's definitely top
sure.
5 and maybe even
He
top
definitely
3
is.
in terms of like
I
the
might-
impact he has.
And I'm not saying he should be on your universe line, but Sean was not playing because of a knee.
Well,
Yeah,
he
that's
shouldn't be
true.
because he's old. Like, there's no way I'm taking any of those people that we listed for Sean.
He
I
doesn't
might
turn it
put-
over like Jimmy does.
I might put JR
Yeah,
in
Jimmy's insane.
for Ryan or Jack at this point. Probably for
What about
Ryan,
Sam?
just because
Really? Why Sam?
Sam Little is such
I
a good
think-
piece for them.
Yeah.
I think
Is it for Jimmy?
comes off of it for me.
For JR?
I think mine is Jack, Ryan, Kocher, Yacht, Sam,
Babbitt.
JR. Did I say JR?
So it's just mine with JR instead of Jimmy.
I agree with you, Mikey,
Yeah.
but
I think that's
it might just
right.
like the thing is like in a practical way, would it like tear
you're
the
not
team
gonna-
apart? Would it unless Jimmy's
It would
down?
send-
If Jimmy's
yeah,
down,
like-
you could do it, but it does make sense.
It's
What about
interesting.
defense though? That's even also tough because a lot of them are obviously.
It's like this. It's like the fucking same line for me without
I don't
Jimmy.
know.
Well, I mean, there's Gibran, there's Cam.
Yeah, I'm putting Gibran out there for sure. That guy.
He's just too
is
good at
also
defense,
remissing.
and you'd have enough offense with everyone else. You're definitely having
Conrad.
Jack.
I don't think
maybe.
I don't think Antoine's on it, right?
No.
I mean, not for
No,
you guys, but
no.
that guy is a fucking bruiser. He was
is,
just
dude.
beating the shit out of Box in finals.
Yeah, he
but
is.
Box was actually had a really good game against him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But he's
yeah.
there,
I mean,
and he's pressuring him.
For D,
like fouling him.
fouling him. Yeah. Well, that was okay. That was Truck's plan for me. Also, they just came out and put the most foully dudes on me and just fouled me,
Love that.
which is a good idea.
Oh yeah. We should just start doing that more. I think
we
let's
should
just
just start
buy
doing
in.
that.
Let's just foul on
Let's
the
just
mark.
foul people.
Let's just
No.
foul downfield. You know what, Mikey? If you're not in, walk to your
find-
car.
Yeah, also,
let's just start.
You were so quick to say
Fucking
that, Mike.
I know. You just-
Please fire me.
Jesus, Mike.
how about we'll just dock them on the Spirit score.
Yeah,
that'll get
dock me. Give me a fucking 0. Whatever, man. I want to win. Get ready. You heard it here first. Next tournament, I
Yeah, right.
hate to
You're
be
gonna be
fucking
broken.
guarding me or matched up against me because I'm elbows are high. Elbows are
the
high.
other knee's gonna go.
My pony D line, D universe. I'm switching Gibran for Sam. And I think that's about. And then Ryan is probably gonna go off for.
I take Ryan off.
Yeah, I think Sam stays before Ryan.
Agreed.
And
Like,
Jimmy
but I'm
has to
taking
go off
D.
too.
Jimmy's for
Oh,
JR
yeah.
already. JR's in for
Yeah.
Jimmy.
So
Um,
JR.
Gibran is in for Sam, and Conrad Schloor is in for Ryan.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see
that's a good
Conrad.
one,
Because okay,
sure.
JR, Jack, Kocher,
Mhm.
Babbitt.
Mm-hmm.
Are you yachting?
Yacht for sure.
Yacht.
Yeah,
That's 2 more spots.
Conrad Gibran.
Conrad Brown.
you can't go wrong.
No, you
Dude.
really can't. I just think it's like a funny test of like, it's just
Woo.
so funny. That's it. I'm gone. I'm going, man. I'm going.
We're going to New
I'm
York.
going to New York. I'm gonna buy in. I'm gonna be
They
the.
might cut us.
I'm gonna be
dude.
the loudest one saying "do work, man."
We didn't even.
Do
We
work.
didn't even talk about. We didn't even talk about Grant Lindsley like on that
Oh
one either.
fuck.
He's a practice player.
player.
Well, I thought about him, but he's a practice player, so I left him off because I would have put him on my.
forgot.
I would have put him on my O, but we left. I'm leaving him off because he's a practice
It's
player.
so crazy. It's so insane. Now Grant's too nice now. I think.
Also, the fact that Cameron Wariner doesn't make their. Like, he probably should be on their university line. That guy's
Where'd that guy come from? Where'd he
insane.
come from?
slow core, dude. He used to play slow core a long time ago.
Long time
He
ago.
was-
huh?
I think he was.
Not that long. I think
no.
he's
I played against him maybe when I was a freshman and maybe also a sophomore. He also was on the U24 cycle in Perth.
Ducky.
He played with Becky. He also played for Sprout, I believe.
Never heard of
recently.
him.
Dude, he's fucking
He's
freak.
good.
Did he play for Sprout or was he playing Dig?
Sprout. He was on Sprout when we played 2020 Nationals. He was on Sprout.
He's also just a great piece. Like you just
Dude, he's
like
sick.
you just athletic on D, like great piece. God.
Yeah.
Other big pickups for different teams that are kind of lower key. I think Charlie McCutcheon on truck. Very big pickup. That guy's good.
He's solid.
D.
He lay out D'd me once in summer league when I was like 16. I called a foul.
Oh.
Charlie, if you're listening, it probably wasn't a foul, but I called it, man. And I was like,
I was
16.
I called foul on him in U.S. Open semis, and it was a foul. So there we go.
And Connor didn't call the foul when Fall hit it out of his hand. So
that was a foul.
You know,
it was foul.
It's fine. You know, you win some, you lose some. I called the foul on you in summer league, Charlie, and Connor didn't call a foul in like Fall in the semi, so we're even now.
It all evens out.
It all comes full circle.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we move on to some fan questions?
Fuck you, Pony. You guys suck.
Do work.
I guess we should maybe just quickly pour one out for our sad Summit season, but we don't have to.
Summit sucks. We suck.
We suck. You know what's funny at the camp today? We were tossing, and then out pops a Los Angeles Aviators disc.
Damn.
Fucking what the hell, man? That's so messed up.
Yeah, we suck. Whatever.
Okay.
If you have questions as to why we sucked, we will go into them later in a later pod. Just ask a question, and I would be more than happy to explain to you why we lost so many games this season. 2 teams that are, in my opinion, worse than us.
Garbage.
All right. Fan questions. We are a little unclear which ones we've potentially answered before, but we're going to start with one that I know we haven't. From Sam Murphy, Smurf, who was interested in playing Broadway this year, I think, but did not work out scheduling wise. He is he an Irish player? He must be, right?
He's on Runaway. That's all I know.
That's right. He says, what's up, fellas? Would love to hear your thoughts on how to manage a club roster over time. It's always tough to know how to approach roster turnover, integrating new players, etc. Don't want to wait too long and start to move in the wrong direction in terms of performance, but also don't want to have a huge amount of turnover each year. So the gist is, how do you deal with roster turnover?
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I think in general, like roster turnover is unavoidable to a certain extent, but like being a team that people want to be a part of, having a culture that people want to be a part of is going to decrease that roster turnover. And in the end, make you a better team as well. So, first things first, like be a team that people want to be a part of. And then as far as roster turnover, I think I don't know if I have a good answer. Like we're in the middle of
figuring
exactly that, and we're figuring it out. And I think the biggest thing that I've come away from it is putting people getting people in situations that they are most likely to succeed in early. The biggest issues that Bravo has had with like specific players and roster turnover has been when we have put players in situations that they might not be the best spot to succeed. And we've like tried it for a long time and then all of a sudden switched at the end of the season. So just trying to find the best situations for your players is, the best way that I've found, but we're not perfect and we're still in the middle of it as well.
Kins, does anything come to mind for you?
Of course. My opinion is cut them early, cut them often. Rip that Band-Aid off before it gets too hard.
Let's go.
You don't want to go if in some seriousness, if they're not, I think if people aren't getting better, like Quinn was talking about, I do think, they can always come back. But if you're not getting better, if you're not showing that you're progressing, I do think it's important. I would like, if I was on a team, the culture to be a little more like cutthroat. because we've talked about this before in club, but like once you've been on a team with someone for like 5 years, like fuck, it's way harder to cut them, after like 2 years, maybe 1. Let them go. They can always come back, motivate them, put the grind in for a year, come back, light a fire under their ass.
Are you answering the question right now, or are you just on a tangent?
I thought roster turnover.
Well, he was.
I thought this was roster turnover, is it not?
It is.
You're talking about creating roster turnover. He's talking about how to handle it.
Oh, you want to know how to create more roster turnover? Cut him.
Cut him.
Fucking cut him.
Fucking cut him early and cut him often. Oh, handle roster. Well. I mean,
we all know how to create roster turnover.
Okay. I was confused.
Create a shitty culture. Nobody wants to be on this team. Then cut them.
Cut him.
Make nobody feel welcome.
Sim, I'm sorry. It's not about not feeling welcome. It's about knowing that if you're on the team, you need to get better. And if you're not getting better, you're going to get cut. That's all. That's all it is. It's clear.
All
anyway.
Right. Mike, what do you think?
Sure. Go on. I failed. I'm sorry, Sam.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I definitely don't have a great answer.
I think it's a dumb question.
I think it's not a dumb question. It's just a hard question to answer.
I think setting expectations, defining what your goals are, defining what your standards are important. And I think this year for us was like, we're still in the middle of it, right? But the integration of Summit and Bravo had some pros, but so far have manifested as mostly cons, right? Because it did not result in a positive outcome for our Summit season, and it delayed the start of a lot of what we needed to do with Bravo, especially integrating some of those pieces that were not with Summit. I think all those guys are returners, but still, it's nice to be able to start fresh. I know, like, Jasper Tom was in town, or maybe is still in town, and came to our throwing session last night. And I talked to Gooch about this when he was over yesterday as well, just about there are other teams, like the Breeze are very integrated. Breeze and Truck are very integrated. Ring and Flyers are very integrated. We were very integrated this year.
One of those 3 teams did it well. I'll let you guess which team that is.
Wait, what was the other option? What was the team that did well?
The Breeze, obviously.
The only one still alive in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like it did delay like some of our ability to set expectations and highlight some of those things. Like Maddie and I were talking this morning, how he was including himself in this, may have used the AUDL season as like a warm up and like a reason to get fit for club, which is really not the right way to approach it. Like, there are all these. I'm kind of scattered trying to answer this.
Okay, in my defense, the first part says, "Would love to hear your thoughts on how to manage a club roster over time."
Yeah, that is true.
That's fair.
How to manage
that is true.
And my answer: cut them early.
All right,
cut them off.
I will say, as part of that angle that you're taking, is I do think it's important to cut people. I don't know why I hate using that. I do think it's important to cut people if they're bad.
Because you're conflict
fit.
averse. We talked about this.
Yeah,
That's why.
Because I'm conflict averse. And remote players. I don't think it's worth having remote players. Personally,
Machine does it.
But and they're very good. Like,
they keep losing in quarters though, so I guess maybe.
And their situation, like, almost maybe requires it, like they have to go full on to like getting the good remote, otherwise they might just not have enough talent. Maybe I don't know.
Thinking about our situation too, we the 3 of us have been talking about, we found lightning in a bottle sort of like culture ended up being really good for us last year, and we were like, how do we repeat it? Like, now we kind of have the blueprint, so we should we should be able to hit the ground running, but I don't think that we have.
No, we've hit the ground. Fucking we
Stumbling.
We hit the ground. We broke both our fucking legs, and we're trying to get up.
We hit the ground.
The ground has been hit.
Yeah.
We still have time, but that time goes by.
You know
really
what's
quickly.
funny with us is like I think we were very aware of like, okay, we don't want to be the team that tries to recapture what happened last year. It's a new year. We don't try to recapture. But in my opinion, like some of the whole like fun thing in a way is a form of us trying to recapture the end of last year, because the end of last year was super fun because we were winning and we were playing well and it was awesome. And so I think that a little bit of the fact that we are like so heavily only focused on like the fun, being positive all the time in a way is like trying to recapture what happened at the end of last year.
I mean, I think that's been a criticism of our culture for years, though. Not with Bravo, but just with like the groups that we've been a part of, because we can be like finding the balance between holding each other accountable, being competitive, and also having fun is a difficult balance.
Yeah. It's tough, man. Teams are tough. I think, you know, this is just like a tangent thing on that, but like, I think having a bunch of team meetings is like, so we were talking about culture, like so crucial. Like if you have the ability to get people together and just talk about these types of things, like why do people play? How do you want to give feedback? How do you want to receive feedback? How, like what's going to motivate you? Like what do you like? Like just literally just talking about all the important things that pertain to playing on a team, I think is crucial.
I half agree with that. I think it's good to talk about it, but you I don't think repeating it, if you're not actually changing anything or there aren't actual action items to take away, like, I am going to be, I'll be critical of you in this moment, Kins, because
okay, you can be critical.
I think you're such an important piece for our team.
Agreed.
And like, if
I'm gonna take them where they're coming, since we're going down a dark path.
right, but if you truly cannot improve your on-field demeanor to be like consistent, that's always going to be a bottleneck for us to reach our ceiling.
Sure, but like clearly it just like goes up and down, because it was improved at the end of last year. It's bad now. Like it's
yeah,
just,
and then I'll
don't
segue
this
to not, and this is not a criticism of you. This is just like for the team. I think the action item is like, instead of having a bunch of team meetings, like maybe like do what you're doing this weekend and hang out, smoke some meat together. Like,
well, because I just think I think what's so important about those, whatever, people talking, I suppose. I think the thing is like it's hanging out, but it's also like talking about those things. Because I think the more you know about each person on your team, the better. So like the more I know why Quinn plays and what motivates him and how he wants to and how he feels during the game and just like how he feels, I think like that's really important for how the team is operating and getting the buy-in. So yeah, I think once you've talked about it, there's not really point in talking about it again unless things have changed. But I do think most teams are on the side of the scale where they have not talked about it enough.
All right.
Okay. Moving on. So let's see here. This one is from Lucas. His handle is Binks Luca. I don't know.
Binks Luca.
Let's see. He says, "Oh, you know what? This is maybe a quick one. He was just asking about Sav Castles. So maybe." So Sav Castles, for those of you who don't remember, is a trainer that we follow on Instagram. Quinn, I think, is pretty diligent about doing her workouts. I do them semi-regularly, but I mix it up. So maybe rather than the question is when are we going to try to have her on? Because she did say she was interested in coming on, but may not be till later this fall. How about just a quick update on the importance of training, or where you guys at with your training, and what do you guys think players should be focusing on at this point in the season?
Yeah. So her Instagram, just a quick plug for her because she's great, is Sav SAV Castles CASTLES. Um, and yeah. As far as like training during the season, it's so difficult to improve anything during the season. So it's mostly just like for me, it's like an outlet to get my legs moving. And generally, if I do it during the week, it makes me feel better at practice and at games or whatever later in the week. So it's just kind of like a maintenance thing. I think the biggest thing with working out is like helps you not get hurt. So that's the biggest thing.
Fuck you.
I'll add that we were touching this earlier, but there's a mental training component to it as well. Like it is a bit of a grind. Like actually one thing that she says is for like actual, I think, aerobic conditioning for your sport, the best way to do it is to play the sport.
I saw that one.
But there is a component of like you're out there just grinding, you're out there just doing something that's not quite as structured fun. So I think that it helps people compete harder and for longer.
Yeah, I think just playing is awesome. Just play anything, play games that are fun, and I think that's a good way to get conditioning in.
One other thing that Maddie said this morning that could be interesting. I'm curious what other teams' practice schedules are like. But so we are practicing Tuesday, Thursday.
No,
and
I know where this is going.
Like, yeah, you probably do because you talk to Maddie all the time.
Yeah,
it takes a long time to commute, and so like it's just such a weekly grind.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like if you practice on the weekends, the con is right, you lose your weekends, but it's a lot easier to get there. It simulates more of the tournament style of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it would leave more time during the week to, unwind from work and also get workouts in, get pod stuff in, get the smaller things in.
Yeah.
You guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, weekday practices are definitely difficult for all of those reasons, and just like mental strain from work, like working all day and then going to practice and trying to like listen and learn after doing that is very difficult. But I just feel like, I mean, I love weekend practices. I also love weekday practices. But if we could do only weekend practices, I think that would be great. But I think in general, a lot of people feel that like that's more of like a crux on their lives because that's when they have like plans and stuff. So in general, I feel like we have worse attendance at weekend practices. Sure. But yeah, I think, doing practices whenever you can get the most commitment is the biggest thing. Yeah. And weekends are hard for people because I feel like they think if we don't have like a tournament or a game that weekend, like that is their chance to kind of get away from both work and Frisbee.
Yeah.
Which is,
yeah,
true. And it sucks, but whatever you can get the most
priorities,
at,
man.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kins? You have
I think opinions? I think, like Quinn said, I do think you don't want to like take too many weekends away from people, but I do think like you get a lot out of like a weekend mini camp, whatever, a couple days. So I think you just put it on the schedule early and let people know about it.
Yeah.
And then I like the consistency of the, couple weekday practices when you can do it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And scheduling those weekend ones. By the way, we are practicing not this weekend, but the next, I think. So FYI, Kins, I don't know if you knew
I'm
that.
probably just not going to go to shit, man.
Oh, yeah, you're sad boy, Kins.
Oh, I'm not sad. Kins. I'll go. I'll be here and there. It just like depends, I guess, on the day. I'm going to hurt you, Quinn. I'm going to hurt you.
I'm already hurt.
Yeah, I'm gonna hurt you more, like badly. I'm upset. I'm upset now. Okay. Let's go. Move on.
But I'll answer that question quickly. When I was your age, my opinion was I loved weekend practices.
I agree.
I had nothing else that I wanted to do. And
True.
I'm not saying that I do anything else now, but I like to just do nothing on a weekend if I can.
Hell yeah, me too.
All right, so this question we may have answered before, but I don't think we ever released that pod.
It's also from a long time ago. All of these
from a long time ago.
We're definitely behind, and we apologize about that. And if you have more questions, please send them. We do love doing them. We just kind of sometimes get behind on them.
Yeah, let's read this one in
life's-
totality for sure. I say.
Life's been busy.
I'd say.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think
no,
I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like the
So this one's
third
from
interview,
Tucker Hoffman.
third
Oh,
paragraph.
I think
shoot.
he wants
You know
to be
what?
anonymous. You could bleep it. You could bleep it.
No, it's okay because I don't think we're touching on everything. So sorry, Tucker. I'm not bleeping this.
Sorry, man.
He asked just our opinion on let's phrase it this way: up and coming young players around both of your what you guys are 24, 25. Quinn,
Yeah.
are you turning?
I'm 25 since April, so I'm basically the same age as Kins. It's close.
Who do you see as your peers? And maybe who's elevating the game around your age, and who do you see like a little bit younger than you that are going to be a problem?
Yeah. Underrated players are so hard to like think of because they are underrated for like 2 seconds and then they're, not underrated.
Or they're
anymore.
on a shitty team.
Yeah. But Tucker mentioned Cole Jurek. I don't think he's underrated anymore. He's really good and everybody knows it. And it's also hard to say who's underrated from other teams, but I think a couple guys from Bravo that I would say are very underrated, or from Summit as well. I think Justin Abel is incredibly underrated. I think Ty Wynn is incredibly underrated from Summit.
Also plays my hot trash mix in the mixed division.
In the mixed division right now. And when we were talking about this, we were talking about people like Hayden Austin Nab is pretty. I think he's underrated. I don't know if you can be considered underrated. Jasper Tom, I think, is pretty underrated.
He also said or up and coming, so it doesn't
coming.
have to be underrated. But who do you think is going to turn into a who's up next?
I think Mac Hecht is underrated now.
I do think he's underrated.
He went from overrated to now underrated. It's crazy. He's underrated, I think. On that team,
Kins out.
Also, Simon Carapella, I think his name is up and coming, underrated.
You're just
he was on
B next guy, dude. You're just reciting all the B next players.
Clyburn.
What is that? What is B next?
Clyburn guy. B next, like the ADL does, like the B next player of the week. I don't know. Care.
What is Clyburn's first name again?
Dexter
Clyburn. Yeah, hopefully I'm saying his last name right. He played Spiders. I don't know.
Amherst. He's from Amherst.
UCLA. He plays for UCLA too, I think.
He's good. He moves he just moves like an athlete.
He's athletic. I'm a Fall fan. Alexander. What's his name? Is it
Alexander Fall?
Is it Alexander? But it's like French. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I think his last name should be pronounced Foul, I think.
I'm a fan of him. I just like him. We vibe.
I like him too.
I'm just a fan of him, but I also think he's good and he's a good energy guy. I said earlier that I thought John Randolph was slightly underrated, which is like a weird thing to say, but I think in the grand scheme of club,
he's so good.
I know he is so good, and I think everyone knows he's so good, but I do think he doesn't get enough attention for how good he is on Pony. Like I think his impact relative to a lot of the other players is actually a lot bigger, but because he's younger and takes that D-line role, he doesn't get it. So it's like a weird one because he's like Callahan Award winner, really good, obviously. But
speaking of that team, Cameron Warrener probably doesn't get any
Isn't
recognition.
it just Warner?
Is it Warner? I thought there was an
I
I
don't
in
know.
there.
Wiener.
There is an I. There is an I in there.
Whatever your
But
name is, dude.
I've just heard other people pronounce it
he's.
Warner.
I would say he's pretty underrated as well.
He's filthy.
Oh,
Is Thomas Edmonds underrated?
no.
No.
You know who's
I don't think
good?
so, but-
I think I hate to say it, but I do think Micah Glass is up and coming. I think he's gonna be good.
Oh, for sure.
I know
Yeah,
he
whatever.
rubs people the
My
wrong
dream
way,
crusher.
but I sympathize with those people. You know, Micah
Kins,
Glass.
Kins was on the sideline during the Rhino game saying the Colorado killer every time he touched the disc.
Because I think it's fucking hilarious. Him
Yeah,
and
he's good.
Itai really good as well. Just both those Oregon kids.
Yeah.
Up and coming.
Micah's a clear up
Yeah.
and comer.
Albert Yuan on the U24. That guy
yeah.
was fucking insane. I didn't even know that guy before the
He
U24s.
went to Duke.
Duke,
or
yeah.
goes to Duke, I think.
He's on Rings practice squad.
He was my favorite player.
He was fucking
Well,
sick.
I'll be honest. He was my favorite player because he's Asian and I'm Asian and he wore glasses.
Well, that's
yeah.
fair.
That's fair.
That's good. Yeah, he
but
was
my
sick.
favorite player on the team was Calvin. Well, and Danny.
Mine's-
Calvin
Dude.
played.
Just fuck
but
Buck,
he-
man. We just fuck
Yeah.
Buck.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
we're just out on Buck, man.
I'm sorry, Buck.
That's so
Damn.
Okay, I had 3 favorite players on the team.
Four.
But
Four.
and also Kevin Pignone that I really liked watching.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
good.
he's
He's
good,
good.
too.
He's solid. Who else? Shout out to Bias, future Bird guy, future Bravo player.
Yeah, sure.
He's up and coming. Fuck, man. You know what sucks is like there's got to be a few on that Utah YCC team, and I hate that.
I would say Will Selfridge is up and coming.
Oh yeah, Will Selfridge for sure.
Definitely.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
especially if like Utah puts a club team together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
if I don't think
stays
they'll be good.
together.
I don't think they'll be good. Whatever.
Maybe in the future though. It depends how many of them are Mormon. But if their YCC team is winning YCCs, and that's on
Without them?
Sundays, or at least semis in our
Well, finals is on Monday.
But whatever, they're making finals, so they're not fucking losing in the semis and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could
Yeah,
be
whatever.
pretty good.
I don't want to. Yeah, whatever.
I got one. He's blowing up, but Holzmeyer, beast,
He's a beast. He's big.
big boy. Yeah, he might be really good because I also think he's one of the players that like he's really big and people just look at him like, oh, big guy, deep threat. But he's really good at throwing. He has good fundamentals. Like,
Is he a good
Yes.
thrower?
Yeah,
too?
he's a pretty good thrower.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
he's good
good thrower. Good, yeah,
for sure.
very solid.
All right, are we done just throwing out clout to random people?
Yeah.
No clout.
No free clout.
I do. I will say I do like appreciating other players, which I think in Frisbee is something we don't do enough for. People on other
Or
teams.
maybe just in the world.
Yeah, fair enough. But we're talking about Frisbee. But so I do like throwing out random clout to random people.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Except all the people we're not throwing out clout who we clearly hate and who are now going to be pissed
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck you if you're pissed and we didn't say your name. It's because you suck. That's why.
And obviously, we were very focused on the men's division. this
Yes, that
year.
is
As,
true.
as
No,
we
the other
consistently
divisions
do.
really as well.
As we consistently do.
Well,
yeah.
you know what? Yeah, that's just, yeah.
Yeah.
That's our demo.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, any closing thoughts before we say
Send more
Goodbye.
questions. Send more questions.
Oh, yeah.
Mikey, I
please.
just wanted to shout you out. You mentioned how you were conflict averse, but then you conflicted with me twice, at least during the pod. So I think that's a big growth step for you.
I also want to shout Mikey out for being a Grandmasters national champion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Woo!
I'm gonna represent the U.S. in.
Not a
Yeah,
big
Johnny
deal.
Walker.
Not a big
Yeah, thank
deal.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one of the few 39-year-olds on the Grandmasters team.
Yeah.
Took home the gold. Thanks for coming out to support Kins. Quinn, I know you couldn't be there,
I
but
couldn't be there.
um,
Even though
Yeah.
you were wearing my number.
yeah, I
Couldn't be
wore your
there.
number.
I know.
I'm 88 now.
Go 88.
Sweet.
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 Happy birthday, Coolman. I
Cool
will
pants.
see ya in about an hour at Oppenheimer.
Hell yeah.